welcome to Driving Double Feature Podcast. I'm Nathan,
I'm Ryan.
and this is the podcast where we talk about two movies a week every Tuesday and Thursday. But before we get into this week's epic podcast, I want to talk to you about our epic Patreon, where we talk about epic topics like movies. I think we talked about a video game once, right? Have we?
Have we?
I don't think so. But if we did, it would be epic. And that is all for the cheap and epic price of $5 a month. And no main show content is locked behind that.
We should talk about epic movie.
We should. We should do a parody month where we just talk about like all of those parody movies, and it all ends on epic movie.
How miserable.
Oh yeah, that would be bad. But getting into this week's movie, probably something that's been parodied before. No, I said probably. It has been parodied before. Dirty Harry. We're back at it with Magnum Force, the second Dirty Harry movie, with Clint Eastwood playing Harry Callahan. And might as well start it off. My dad talked to me and he said he was disappointed by our Dirty Harry episode. Yeah, can you believe that? He said it's because we didn't talk about the gun. We didn't talk about his huge gun. Well, Dad, I have to say, I was holding off because I was waiting for this one. This one opens with his gun. Literally, it's just a shot of his gun as the credits roll. And it's
I
in the
actually
name.
like that.
I like it too. I think it's fun. Yeah, with the gun and the credits are rolling and like the music's playing, and then it ends with him pointing the gun at the camera. It's kind of silly. Because guns are a huge part of this movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely. I really liked how this movie opens with Harry swimming in the water, getting his badge that he threw out into the reservoir, or the quarry or whatever.
Yeah, it's a sequel, as in like, it happens like 5 seconds after the first one, and it's one of those.
He's just like, oh shit, I need that, and just like dump back in.
Wait,
in the water.
I killed someone in cold blood. I need that to protect me. And yeah, but I mean, we are dealing with consequences from the first movie, right? Like he is still he's been downgraded as a cop. He's not working homicide anymore. And Hal Holbrook plays his lieutenant, right? He's the lieutenant. And he does not like Harry whatsoever. And I guess I want to talk a little bit about this movie. So the plot of this movie is that there is a vigilante on the loose, and they are going around killing criminals. And as we find out later in the movie, spoilers, whatever, cops are the ones that are doing it. And this is actually based off of the original Dirty Harry script written by Terrence Malick. So we talked about that last time. So Terrence Malick's draft was this one. And then they kind of worked on it.
Maybe that's why this one was so boring.
Oh, so boring. Okay. Well, then you must have a problem with it.
Now I hate this movie.
Well, he didn't. It did get rewritten by John Milius. I think that's how you say his name. And one of my favorite directors, Michael Cimino, helped write this script as well. So
I like this movie again.
It's a good movie now. Yeah. So this is pre Deer Hunter and all that. By a few years. But this is directed by Ted Post, which he had worked with Clint Eastwood on not Gunsmoke, because I don't think was Clint Eastwood ever on Gunsmoke.
I don't think so. He was on the show Rawhide.
Rawhide. Okay, well, I'm looking now. He did do the show Rawhide, so they had worked together at some point. Yeah, wow. Yeah, and I guess even more connections. Michael Cimino and Clint Eastwood worked on Thunderbolt and Lightfoot as well a little bit later, the Clint Eastwood Jeff Bridges movie.
That was a good movie. I liked that one.
No, it was a good movie. Yeah, I mean, Cimino was a great director.
Until he made Heaven's Gate.
Horrible. Well, the thing is his career did take a down. He did like one with like Woody Harrelson called like Sunbreaker or something. He made like these like movies that nobody watched. That movie did kill his career. But yeah, so we open up with Harry and his new partner. And his new partner once again is still somewhat new, but he's a little more confident. I would say he only has one job. He wants to be a cop. I think even Harry asks him like, "Oh, do you have a backup job if after this?" He's like, "Nope, I'm just a cop. This is what I want." Um, which I think is cool. I actually really
As the
like his
last guy
part.
became a teacher.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not even like a new adventure or anything. There's still like ramifications from the first movie, and they bring it up from time to time. But I like
Well,
his. Oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say this kind of just continues the trend that every single Dirty Harry movie he gets a new partner, and it's like this wacky pairing. It's like, oh, you're a like the last movie was like, oh, you're a white guy, and your new partner is Latino, and it's like, oh, and this new part he's black. It's like
This is
it's
so
so the
crazy.
opposite. Yeah.
And then eventually it all goes down, and then Jim Carrey is like his partner for a movie, right? No, Jim
No,
Carrey's in one of them. Who's
he's
his
in one of
partner in
them.
that one?
I can't remember, but there
We'll get
one
there.
of them it's like he gets like a woman, and then
Oh
another
no.
one. Yeah.
Okay, that I'm excited for that. Um, but yeah, so Hal Holbrook and these bunch of new motorcycle cops show up, and they're not suspicious whatsoever. They all hang out together, and they're all great shots as well, which we find out because that's kind of the smoking gun of this movie. As we find out later, is that one of them is just like an insanely good shot, which we see in the target practice, and towards the end of the movie, there's a really fun scene where there's like target practice, and it's Harry and him working together, or not working, facing off against each other, but Harry is intentionally losing so he can figure out, like, because he has suspicions that a cop is killing all these criminals.
Yeah, it's well, I mean, you didn't mention like how the movie starts
Mhm.
is when it's like that mob boss or whatever, he gets off. Basically he is found innocent or acquitted of any crimes that he's done, and then while he's out, he gets pulled over by a cop, and it's like these mob guys, so thinking, oh, we just pay these cops off, no big deal, and
Mhm.
everyone just gets like shot, and they all die. And then there's another scene too later where it's this pimp that's like a very notorious pimp. He like murders one of his prostitutes, and he also ends up getting shot by a cop too.
In a really controversial way too. He pours like Drano down her throat,
Yeah, that's like a
which
really disturbing scene.
yeah, which I guess movies do affect real life violence. That actually, so a group of people watched this movie, saw that, and they're like, "Oh, that's a good idea," and they actually killed someone using that method because of this movie, which is
Oh,
awful.
wonderful.
Yeah, horrible stuff. But yeah, that scene is crazy. But yeah, so what is happening is
Um,
we learn more from Harry. I thought this would be more of a mystery movie because at the beginning it's almost like the black glove slasher movie. You don't know who's doing it, but eventually over time it does show the face of the person doing all this. But Harry doesn't know, but we know. It's one of those mystery movies where like you're getting close to it. Figure it out, Harry. And let me say, so I was thinking about this movie a lot. I actually really like this movie, but it's definitely different from the first one, and I like that because the first one, this loses a lot of the style of the first one. It doesn't have the shaky cam, the music isn't as strong, but I do think Clint Eastwood is better here. I think he's at the top of his game here. Really, I mean, like he's likable, and I think that's also part of the writing. He's not as he's not as dirty this time around. He's not a good guy,
no.
but he's not being a dirty cop as much.
Well, I mean, like I mean, like based off of the other movie,
Hmm.
it almost seems, I mean, because they almost reference it in this movie too. It's like this, like, kind of almost aligns with his philosophy from the first movie a little bit.
A little, yeah.
Like, I mean, he didn't like actively go after people and just murder them in cold blood. It was just like
Mhm.
if they were actively committing a crime, he didn't mind using excessive force, basically. So that's
Yes.
that's the difference, is like he wouldn't go out of his way to like murder somebody. But it's just funny because it's like they have these, like, the whole first movie was him, a cop that didn't play by the rules, and
Hmm.
then this one he's trying to, like, these cops don't don't play with the rules more than he does, and he's like, whoa, 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 like
This
this ain't
is
no good.
too this is too off the deep end, guys.
Yeah, yeah, you guys are being a little too extreme there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's
and
funny.
also,
Go ahead. Sorry.
no, one funny fact too is like they point out like in the first movie that um he's a racist or whatever, like
Mhm.
not necessarily a racist, but he hates everybody type of thing. He's like, he starts using a lot of racial slurs in like the first movie. And then in this movie, because it's like those four cops, they all like to hang together, and his partner made like a joke saying like, yeah, those guys are pretty much just like stuck together. Like we were suspecting like in the force that, they might be, with each other type of thing.
Uh-huh.
And and then Harry just makes the comment, it's like, well, hell, if they all shoot like that, I don't care if the whole force is queer. Like it's
Which is so funny. Wow, he
so
became
he's
so
not
progressive in 2 years.
yeah, he's not homophobic.
Yeah,
Harry is totally fine with gay
that's
people.
which is so funny. Like, I'm really
Mm.
racist, but gays, you know what? I'm cool. I'm cool
Mm.
with that.
As long as
But
they're white gays.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would have been even funnier. They could all be queer and white, together, and then I'm okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Um, but no, I think that's he definitely has changed as a character. I do think it's for the better because I feel like the first one, it's like he's not really relatable, but you understand. I guess here he might be a little more relatable. He's a little lighter. He doesn't really throw out racial slurs. He seems to defend his partner pretty
He,
well.
yeah, and like I said, his partner is black in this one, and he doesn't have any major issues with them.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, that's something that I like. I feel like that happens a lot in movies like this with a white and black cop or even a partner. They always have to bring up race, like that. There's always jokes about that or something, and you don't really get that here. They feel like a partnership. I mean, he brings up that he's black, but it's not really the major focus of the movie, which
Right.
I can appreciate that. I feel like it's just like a good simple cop movie. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so it's just an investigation movie. These people are going around town killing people, and Harry just gets closer and closer. Um,
They do have some of like the little vignettes like they did from the last movie where it was like Harry using his excessive means to get to capture any bad guys, and there was a one incident where it was like this guy or this group of people hijacking a plane,
mhm,
so he had to go on there and impersonate being a airplane captain, and just
yeah,
and he went on there and he's like, well, yep, I'm here to fly your plane, your getaway plane, and all the other like the flight crew on the plane were just like, do you know what you're doing? He's like, nope, and just starts moving
yeah.
like trying to fly the plane, and eventually, he just stops the plane real suddenly so that way all the bad guys kind of fly forward, and then another guy like runs to the bathroom and he just like shoots them through the wall.
Yeah, somebody's standing and he just says, "Get down," and just shoots through the wall. Yeah,
Yeah.
that scene is probably the most disjointed from the movie. I love it. I love the vignettes. Those are some of my favorite parts. But it feels so like, okay, this happens in the middle of this. They're at an airport because aren't they just getting a burger? He's like, "Best burger in town. We got to go
Yeah.
out and get that at the airport." Um, yeah, but no, that scene's good fun. And Hal
Yeah.
Holbrook is a great lieutenant because he's just pissed at Harry the whole movie. Um,
Hmm.
but as we learn in the twist of the movie, he's in on the whole thing too. So I guess that is the real twist of the movie because we know it's cops doing it. It's pretty obvious. Um,
Yeah.
and they try to kill Harry by planting a bomb in the mailbox. And Harry figures this out, and I love the guy that comes down the stairs. And he's like, "What are you doing with my mailbox?" And he's like, "I'm a cop." And it just is
No,
it's a dumb
no,
fight.
he's like, no, yeah, the guy was like, he's like, if you don't, that tampering with the mail is a federal offense. I'm gonna call the cops. And he's just like, I am a cop. And he's like, oh, what? And then he pulls out the bomb and he's just like, He's like, here, you want me to show it? You want to hold it? And he's just like, no, no, and just runs off.
And he has that bomb, and he brings it up, and he has the lieutenant come over, and then the lieutenant basically kidnaps him and is like, "Hey, Harry, you've gotten too deep into this. You should have just let us handle this." But before we get into that, one important thing to mention about this movie is Harry gets a little more romantic in this
Hmm.
movie. I guess there was a lot of response from
Without it
women.
trying.
Yeah, hey, he's just that handsome, and like he has that charisma. Because what's I guess women had written to Clint Eastwood that there needed to be a scene where he gets hit on by women. I don't know. This is what Clint said. I don't know. He's probably just rambling or something. But there's like this weird scene where he's with like a lady and her kids are running around, and she tries to sleep with him right there on the couch, and like she's like, what can I do to sleep with you, Harry? And the kids interrupt, and what did she say? She says something like, "Oh, these kids are gonna make it so I can never get laid."
Yeah.
Just yeah, which I think is so weird. And then he has that scene. He has like an Asian woman that like he sleeps with or hangs out with for a good chunk of the movie.
Well, like he shows up, like he's been in that apartment for whoever, however long,
Hmm.
and she's just like, "Oh, I've just been seeing you come in and out of this apartment. You're the cop that lives upstairs." He's like, "Yeah," and she's just out of nowhere. She's like, "So, what's it take for some girl to sleep with you?" And he's just like, "Have you ever tried knocking?" Like,
And then she does.
yeah.
But they don't sleep with each other. At least then he
Well,
gets called back
well,
into the office.
yeah, they always keep getting interrupted before they're gonna get sexy time because
Mhm.
like his lieutenant calls him, like Hal Holbrook comes, like, you need to get down here. There's been a murder, or there's another time he's like, hey, let's just get some beer and then let's hang out, and that's when he
Mhm.
finds the bomb in the mailbox.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe whenever they do a new Dirty Harry, maybe he can finally bang in that movie. I think that would
Yeah,
be
like
fun to
90-year-old Clint Eastwood just
see. They're gonna need like a robot contraption to get him to move like that for that scene,
yeah.
or just special effects like Robert De Niro in The Irishman.
Yeah, they just de-age him, so it's just like a young Clint Eastwood, but he moves like a senior, like a like an
Yeah,
elderly old man.
God, this isn't an Irishman podcast. Maybe one day, but God, that had some bad scenes. They would do that. Yeah, I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine. But yeah, this movie, I guess, originally in the script, it didn't end with this climactic chase. There's like a huge chase scene with all the motorcycle cops and Hal Holbrook, and they're all like, there's cars, motorcycle jumps, and everything. And this was not in the original script. I guess the original script it ended very simply and would have been under 2 hours, but this movie is over 2 hours. Um, which this is the longest Dirty Harry, Ryan. So don't worry, they get shorter from here.
Thank God.
I know. And what is the? I'm looking it up really quickly. There is a cop that I recognize. Yeah. God, no. There's one of the cops in Magnum Force. I was like, I know that face, and it's like one of his first movies. Oh yeah, Tim Matheson. I was like,
Oh,
yeah, I was like, holy crap! I realized who that was. Um, Very early role for him. And I think the action scene's pretty good, if not maybe a little too long. It definitely, you feel the length of it towards the end of it.
absolutely. But I really like the action was good, but
Hmm.
I mean, like the stuff I liked the most was just mostly like Harry like figuring out like like the gun shooting scene, or like the shooting competition scenes, like a really good scene. I
Oh
like
yeah.
that one a lot. And or just the scene too where Harry all of a sudden goes down into his parking garage where he parks his car,
Hmm.
and it's just those motorcycle cops are all just like standing in front of him like in a straight line,
Oh yeah, that was
and
great.
they're basically just like, you need to get your nose out of this business. Like basically you either need to be with us or you're going to be against us and you're going to die.
Yeah, because he does get asked to be a part of this crew because they think that he would be good for it. But I think like the main thing to learn is that like even if they sort of align with his feelings from the last movie, it's almost like you don't tell Harry Callahan what to do. That's also part of it. Like if you asked him to do something like that, he's going to just say no because he doesn't want to be told to do it.
Right. And like I said, his whole deal is that he doesn't believe in corporal punishment or like murder
Yes,
full
yeah.
on. It's he wants people to be tried for justice. Like that one guy in the first movie. I mean, he kind of, he did shoot him,
Hmm.
and he was basically just like, I could just blow your head off like right now, but I'm not going to, type of thing. And
Hmm.
I think that's kind of like what sets it apart is just like unless he's being provoked or whatever, like he's not going to just shoot somebody in cold blood. Because even at the end of the first movie, um, Scorpio, he was going to let him live, but then Scorpio pulled out his gun and just
Hmm.
left him no choice.
Exactly. Yeah. So like he's going to kill someone if it means his death, which is understandable. So yeah, I mean, I guess the morals do align, but maybe he's gotten a little bit just a
He's
little bit nicer.
he's lightened up a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Um, but no, I think overall, I think this is a good movie. I was surprised. I didn't know if this is going to be a franchise where only one was really solid, but I actually personally, this might be crazy. You guys might yell at me. So many mean emails. I think I like this one a little bit better. I like the mystery element. I think the vigilante cop angle is really fun, and I like Harry in it. So I think this was a really fun sequel.
It's a toss up between these, but I've seen all five of them, like I
Hmm.
said, and this one's almost my favorite because I really like the villain of this one a lot more too.
Hmm. Yeah, I think the
It
idea that the lieutenant's the bad guy is fun.
just and it's just an interesting concept. Just the cops are the one behind the murder when that's usually not how it is. Like you don't ever see like where it's like cops intentionally murdering criminals.
Hmm. Exactly. So yeah, I'd say this is a recommend. I'd say definitely check this one out.
Definitely.
All right. Well, then that wraps it up for this one. But Ryan, what are we covering on Thursday?
Well, Nathan, we're going to go back into the Kaiju book and we're going to be talking about Gamera again. We're going to be talking about Gamera 2 Attack of the Legion, and that one is streaming for free on Tubi right now.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to watch that one. And if you want to email us, you can email us at drivein-double-feature-podcast@gmail.com. If you're on Spotify, be sure to leave a comment. It's going to ask you if you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to leave a comment. Also, if you're listening on YouTube, leave a like. Helps us out in the algorithm. But until next time.
Until next time.